So, with it being Money in the Bank season, I wanted to come and talk about what I wanted to see from this year's Money in the Bank. Now, we did just get done doing our preview video for Money in the Bank, so if you haven't gone and checked that video out, I strongly suggest you doing that and then coming back to watch this one. Because instead of talking about what I want to see from the show, this is what I want to see from the actual concept of the Money in the Bank briefcase. Because I really feel like it hasn't been treated like this big deal like it was in years past. Because if you look at it through the WWE PLE schedule, it is the first major PLE show to appear after WrestleMania. And it also sets up a lot for the road to SummerSlam. And with WWE making SummerSlam a 2 night event, I really felt like Money in the Bank could be used like the Royal Rumble is. The Royal Rumble serving the same purpose, beginning the road to WrestleMania, and kind of paving the way for that road. But again, in years past, Money in the Bank just has not felt like that. So the purpose of this video is, again, to talk about the Money in the Bank briefcase and what I want to see from it this year. But before we get too far ahead in the video, I want to say that if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. That's all we post is WWE related content. So if you're a WWE fan, consider subscribing. Again, it's free. You can always change your mind later. So if you were to go back and look at the previous Money in the Bank winners, the last real one that we had on the men's side would be Damian Priest. Because last year's was such a disappointment in Drew McIntyre winning it and then trying to cash in that same night, ultimately losing it because of CM Punk. And I just wasn't a fan of having the briefcase used to build up a feud like Drew and Punk that didn't need it. That feud would have been just fine had CM Punk come in and cost Drew the match, period. But they decided to do it in a way that incorporated the briefcase, which ultimately wasted an entire year of what could have been a really interesting story with any of the other winners. So it was just really disappointing to see the Money in the Bank briefcase being treated like kind of a nothing item and was used to build up a feud that didn't need built up anymore. And if we want to go back to Damian Priest's run with the Money in the Bank briefcase, it was long, but it really wasn't all that memorable. Because let's not forget, there were a lot of times where everybody was sitting on the edge of their seats thinking that, hey, this would be a perfect time for Damian Priest to cash in, and he never did. And they ended up having him wait until WrestleMania, which just always felt kind of predictable. The purpose of the Money in the Bank briefcase is that person with the briefcase can cash that contract in whenever they want. And obviously, everybody wants their big WrestleMania moment, but it would be nice to just have it on a random episode of Monday Night Raw or a smaller show, maybe like a Saturday night's main event. Because unfortunately, if we go past Damian Priest and look at Austin Theory's run with the Money in the Bank briefcase, it got even worse because they treated Austin Theory with that briefcase like an absolute joke, failing to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase time after time after time after time. So what I want from this year's Money in the Bank winner, I want to see it return to what it used to be and have it be the ultimate surprise when someone wants to cash in. In my opinion, I don't want it to be saved for a top PLE. I don't want it to be saved for WrestleMania or SummerSlam. I think it would really benefit from having someone cash it in on Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, or possibly one of the smaller PLE shows. Or, like I talked about earlier, maybe giving Saturday night's main event another big moment that would really, really help that show out. So whoever wins this year's Money in the Bank briefcase, I want it to be a significant run. I want it to be a longer run, but I also want it to make sense. I want it to be in a position where if the fans are sitting at home watching a match and they're thinking to themselves, this would be a good time to cash in, I want it to happen. And if you have watched my preview video, you know who I have winning the men's Money in the Bank briefcase, and you know what I think happens. And if you haven't, go check that out, then come back to this. Again, I want to reiterate, what I said in that video, I don't want happening. Because again, I think it would suck losing the briefcase in such short order like we did last year. And everything that I have said in terms of the men's Money in the Bank briefcase, the same can be applied for the women's Money in the Bank briefcase, although the women's, in my opinion, has been treated a little bit better than the men's has. We obviously saw what Tiffany Stratton was able to do with the briefcase last year, and I thought that she actually had a very interesting run with the Money in the Bank briefcase because you had the whole dynamic between her, Nia Jax, and everyone else that was involved in that story. So I wouldn't at all hate something like that for the men's this year. And I wouldn't hate to see a similar run for the women's briefcase this year. So this is where I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of Money in the Bank recently? Have you been a fan of how they have done it, or have you not been a fan? And also, let me know what you want to see from whoever wins the Money in the Bank briefcases this year. Again, without spoiling too much from my preview video, because I want you to go check that video out, the two winners that I picked, I don't want to see win. And while that may not make a whole lot of sense, I still think that it could be interesting with who I picked winning. So as always, let me know that stuff down below in the comments, and while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. It is the only link in bio for a reason, and that is because it'll take you to all of the social medias for this channel, and I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And above all else, I want the X page to be a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling, especially if you're like me and you don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a group of wrestling fans to talk about wrestling with, consider swinging by an upcoming episode of Friday Night SmackDown, or possibly as I watch Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank, I will be providing updates for both of those shows. So if you are on X on Saturday and you see one of my tweets, consider joining in on the conversation. Maybe it's for you at the end of the day. With all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Both are free and both really help out the channel. And as always, stay tuned for more WWE content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.